Hello, everyone. Come on in. How is everyone doing today? Drop in the comments where you chiming in from. Drop an emoji on how you are feeling. And if you are catching this replay, you know what to do. Hit hashtag replay. All right. My name is Tammy Renee, and I partner with introverts, creatives, soul led entrepreneurs and coaches who crave independent location and wealth. Oh, hold on. Uh oh. I thought I had that low. I turned it on so that I can catch any comments that you may be dropping. So let's redo that again. My name is Tammy Renee, and I partner with introverts, creatives, soul led entrepreneurs, and coaches who crave independent location and wealth driven income. Also, as a global entrepreneur or global leadership. So today I am joining with you today because I want to share with you 5 things that I've seen on them internet streets and them social media streets that you should not be doing if you plan on moving abroad. You want to move anywhere outside the United States, there are people out here giving you bad advice. And I want to make sure that you know what this bad advice is so that you do not do it. A lot of it is common sense, but not always common sense is common, right? And so, just in case it's crossed your mind that you could do one of these things, I want to tell you that you can't. Okay. I've been there, I've done it. And actually, number 5 on the list is a personal experience. So I'm going to share a little story with number 5 that's on this list, my experience from doing what you should not do. So make sure you stay until number 5. But as I'm going through this list, let me know if you've heard of any of these things or if you thought about doing any of these things that people have advised you with. I have lived international before. I lived in Costa Rica for 3 years. I've had that experience. Some of these things on here, I may have thought about them, but I knew better, right? Except for number 5. Uh, number 5 is one of those tricky ones. So I made a list of the things I've heard on the internet, especially on TikTok. Because everybody go to TikTok to get their news, but we're not going to TikTok. We're coming to Tammy Renee to find out if TikTok news is right or wrong. So if you have any questions during this episode, make sure that you drop them in the comments. If I do not see them come up, I will answer them later. If you see me looking at my phone or anything, it's because I'm checking for comments because a lot of times I cannot see it on my screen. So I want to make sure to answer those. But if I missed your question or I missed you being here, make sure you drop them in the comments because I will come back and answer them. We are live on YouTube and Facebook. On Facebook, on my personal channel and on my travel channel. Make sure you like, subscribe because I have my show coming out, Travel Live Globally, and that's going to give you a lot of information about moving and living abroad, culture, things to do, all of those great things. I am so excited. So make sure you subscribe so that you do not miss the first episode that comes out in next month, September. All right, so let's get to this list. Let's get to this list. So, the first thing that I've seen out there in them social media streets telling you what to do is just to show up and go. They're saying just go, play it by ear, look for a job when you're there, all of those great things. You cannot just go to another country. Yes, you can buy a ticket and go travel to another country, but typically there is a period of time that you can only be there under a tourist visa. After that period of time, you need to leave the country. Okay. Some of those countries are 30 days. So you have to do your research, whichever country you decide you want to find out what the tourist visa is, right? Sometimes there's extra things you have to do, like fill out paperwork, fill out an entry form, fill out an exit form, tell where you're going to be staying. Things are getting more strict. And so you have to make sure you check these things out. You cannot just close your eyes, pick a location on a map, and just go anymore. You just can't do that. Especially if you plan on just moving and you want to move somewhere. Okay, no, you cannot do that. You have to buy a ticket. And a lot of times when you buy your ticket, they're not letting you get on that plane unless you have a return ticket. And yes, I know you saying, okay, we're gonna buy a return ticket. We're gonna just not come back. You don't want to do that. If you get caught with overseas without your visa, without, you're overstaying your stay, you can either get in trouble with the law, of course, but you can get banned from ever coming there again. Or you can definitely you're going to get kicked out. But you don't want to end up in no foreign jail or anything because you didn't follow the law. So remember, you can't just pick a place and say, I'm going to go live there without doing your research. You need to do your research because there's paperwork that is involved in order for you to stay past a tourist visa. And sometimes you got other things you got to fill out and shots and things like that. So do your research before you make that decision. Let's move on to the second thing that I've heard, which is super crazy in these internet streets, is go get a huge loan, right? Just go take out some money and take that money and just go to whatever country you're choosing to go to and use that to survive off until you can find other ways to make money. Well, for one, if you go as a tourist visa, you know you can't work, right? If you're gonna work, it's gonna be under the table. And that's if they hire you, right? It's not going to be on par to what the locals make. You're gonna make less money if you go in and get a job under the table. So when they say take out money, that money is going to run out. Then what are you going to do? And what if you fail and you have to come back to the United States? Are you going to be able to pay that money back? Don't try to open up a bank account in international because when you open up a bank account international, they still link you back to the United States. I've had bank accounts international before. They still link you back to the United States. And depending on the agreement between the two countries, is going to depend on how much information they share. So do not go get a loan that you do not intend to pay back just to go leave the country to a country you don't even know you can stay in. That's not smart. You're setting yourself up for failure. You've heard of any of these two? Drop it in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are because we're about to move on to number three. Now, number three is one of ignorance, right? Number three is they say that you don't have to learn the language because everybody speaks English. All right. Yes, there may be countries out there that speak English, but that doesn't mean they're going to speak English to you. Okay. If you choose to move to a country, you need to at least learn some of the language, unless you don't plan on, integrating with the community. You're going to stay in the American expat community and you're never going to get out and integrate with anyone else. It might be feasible at that time. But if you are moving to a country and you want to get into the community, you want to know people, you want to build a community, you want to be in the culture, you need to learn a few words at least because your efforts of showing that you are trying to communicate with them in their language goes a long way, just like their efforts to communicate with you in English. That should go a long way. And that should show you that they're trying to speak English or they're speaking English. It's not probably their native language, so you should speak part. Say, learn how to say hi, learn how to say good morning, learn how to say good night, thank you. Anything to help you show that you have initiative to, speak their language and that you care about them and that you respect them. So don't think you can go to a country and not learn bits and pieces of the language. Now, if you're not gonna go out there and you're not gonna work, you don't have to, go do business and speak a whole sentence, a paragraph, or write a story in their language if you don't want to. But at least learn how to communicate when you are out and about in the restaurants, going to the clubs, different things. At the store, you need something, learn how to say milk or something, water. Learn how to say a few of the words so that they know you are trying. And when you try to speak their language, you get a different level of respect. Okay. So if you are not speaking your language, you're not going to get respect. You're not going to be respected. So just be sure to do that. Thank you for joining, Renee. I see a pop up. Thank you. Make sure you hit hashtag replay if you are joining in and catching this replay. Make sure to drop your questions in the comments so that I can come back and answer those. We went over three: just showing up, taking out large sums of money, and not speaking the language. Let's go over number four. This kind of ties back into number one, but going there and you just telling the embassy or the immigration that you're just there on a tourist visa. Now, I've lived in, like I told you, I've lived in Costa Rica. There have been illegals from America that's in Costa Rica, and they go across the border every 90 days. I'm sure they're slacking up, they're tying down on those. They're not going to be It's not going to be as easy as it used to be, right? But to go in as a tourist visa, if you get caught working again, that is going to get you kicked out of the country, get you in legal troubles, and you never know what's going to happen. You might even end up in their jail. So you don't want to just tell immigration that you're coming in on a tourist visa and then you're going to end up staying because you can't renew it. If Be smart about it. Look and see how long you can stay as a tourist. A lot of times you can renew tourist visas up to so long per year. So for instance, I believe Belize, you get 90 days. You can renew that tourist visa and stay uh you can stay 3 you get 3 months. Let's do it easier. You get 3 months. You can renew that tourist visa. You do have to pay a fee for another 3 months, but you may not be able to stay more than 6 months out of the year. So you have to check to make sure what are the tourist visa requirements. You can't just show up like number 1 and think you're just going to find a job and work. You can't just show up and think you don't have to leave. You can't just show up and think you can renew this tourist visa indefinitely because that's not how the law works. That's just not how things work. Okay. So make sure that yes, American immigration can be illegal too. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. So there is a lot of Americans who play the illegal game when it comes to moving abroad, but then get mad when they move here. So, that's a whole another live, right? All right, so that is number 4. Any of these that you can relate to or that you have heard, make sure to drop them in the comments. Now, for number 5. Number 5 is a personal experience I have experienced myself. Okay? And this is Going somewhere to move without healthcare, without setting up your healthcare so that you make sure if something happens, you're taken care of. So when I moved to Costa Rica, I did not set up international health care, right? I did still have my American health care. So when I come back to the States, I can get things done, or I would fly back and get things done. But if you plan on staying for long periods of time, it is important to make sure you know how you are going to handle health care. Okay. They say healthcare and things are cheaper in other countries, but that depends. And the reason why I say that depends, sometimes you will get taken advantage of just because you are an American, right? And then sometimes if you are not a resident or you are not an expat, you can still get taken advantage of, or they have a different rate for you, period, because you are not a resident of that country yet. Maybe you're working on it, but it just hasn't come through. So when I was in Costa Rica, I actually got sick and I literally felt like I was gonna die in Costa Rica because of how I got sick. And so when I went to the doctors, my white blood cells were so low that they told me if I had to go into the hospital, that it would cost me $2,000 US dollars a day to stay in the hospital, and I would get put on a no-fly list. So I would not be able to leave the country because they couldn't figure out what was going on with me. And so because I didn't have any insurance, all of that would have had to been paid out of my pocket. So I do highly suggest if you plan on spending any long periods of time anywhere that you look into healthcare insurance, international insurance, travel insurance, some kind of insurance that insure you that if something happens, you can be taken care of. Even if it's a higher fee, but you don't want to pay $2,000 a day and be on a no-fly zone. Now, when they said I would go on a no-fly zone, I left that doctor's. I did not go back. I booked my ticket and I came back to the United States. Fortunately enough, I had money to fly back to the United States. But that is an example of something that can happen. What if you don't have the money to book a last minute ticket out of the country? If you have insurance, maybe your insurance will pay for you to leave the country to go back to your home country to get, whatever needs to be done. But this was something that was happening that, it was a cross between they ruled, so let's just say they ruled out dengue because that is mosquito borne, right? And so it was something else that was going on. But I did get it taken care of, I did get tested, I do know what it was. So, but I had to come back to the United States to do that. So healthcare is very essential, especially when you're going to areas where there is diseases, where there is like with the mosquitoes or anything that can bite you, or in the food, maybe the food is different. You need to make sure that your system is up to par and that you have health care or you can access health care. You can fly back at the drop of a dime to get your health care in the United States. But other than that, you will get taken advantage of if you are just in a country and you are visiting. Thank you so much. Thank you so much and you are in a country and you are just visiting, you something happens, you're going to get charged premium prices. There's just probably no way around that. Go ahead and expect that. And if it's not, then good for you. But those are 5 things that I've seen on this internet that people tell you that to do and just do it and move internationally and don't worry about these things. They are very important. So, one more time, I'm going to go over those. But before I go over those, I want to let you know I am hosting a masterclass, and this masterclass is three growth mindsets that you need or that sets you up for success for your business and your life abroad. This is going to be a free masterclass. It's 60 minutes. I'm hosting it on the last Sunday of the month. So go ahead, go get signed up for that. And that is at Tammy Renee. You'll see the link come up below, but tammyrenee.us backslash three growth mindsets. Three growth mindsets. Three growth mindsets. tammyrenee.us. So if you're interested in joining that to get you prepared, get your mind ready, get you going, go ahead and sign up for that. Grab your checklist at iwanttoliveabroad.com. It is a free, both of these are free. Both of these are free. I want to make sure that you're set up so that you don't go through the things that I had to go through to learn from the mistakes that I learned. So these are free. Get your checklist and join the master class. Those five bad advices that don't listen to is just showing up. You can't just show up. Take out large sums of money. When that money run out, you gonna run out, right? Um, you don't have to learn the language. Yes, you do. You got to learn a few words so you are respected. And tell them you're there. Tell immigration you're just there on a tourist visa and look for a job. You're not going to find a legal job on a tourist visa. You're not going to work anywhere on a tourist visa. There's paperwork and things like that that have to be found. And figure out your health as you go. Bad advice. So, if you have any questions, thank you for joining me. My name is Tammy Renee. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, give me a comment. I will come back and answer those. But you have a wonderful rest of the day. I'll see you next week. Bye. Mm-mm-mm.